Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream. And yeah, I know I'm live. I'm going to be this time reading part of chapter 4 since it was a short chapter and no one really wanted to watch that last live stream. So yeah, some of part 4, chapter 5 and 6. And with the 200 subscriber special, I a lot of what you guys have voted for is not going to come out, like the bioactive terrarium build. I got the terrarium back there already and stuff. I can't start building it until we move over to where we're heading. So yeah, I can't start building that, and for the finding fossils in Utah or Colorado, I may or may not be able to do that, since we're still deciding on a family vacation this year. And we're planning to go up there somewhere or somewhere along the eastern coast. So what I think I'm going to do is put the 200 subscribers special into 3 parts. Part is going to be a review on Godzilla X Kong, which I'm tonight after my live stream. Second, I am going to be building the bioactive build, which will take a month or 2 or something. And then when I can, find fossils for you guys. Yeah. All right. Hold up. All right. For this one, I've saved the consignate this part for you guys. Why in my videos I keep saying consignate this are so scary in the novel. I saved that part for you guys. And then, yeah, so a little recap. At the beginning, we got the prologue in chapter 1, which was a bunch of engine had a construction accident at Isla Nublar, so they had to take this kid up to a town in Bahia Inasco, Costa Rica, because there was a tropical storm, and they couldn't take him to San Jose. He ends up dying, and then we go to the Lost World part where Tino Bowman and her family stumble upon the pack of consignatuses, and she gets bitten. She's fine. This guy named Gutierrez catches one of the animals, a posterior segment of the animal, and takes it up to a lab in New York. And that is what I read in chapter 4. Them analyzing what this is. And it will go seep into some of chapter 5 and 6, maybe. Yeah, and then chapter 6 is when we start getting to the beginning of Jurassic Park, like Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, and stuff. I love spamming buttons. Not gonna lie. Well, I think I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna read the consignate this part. The tropical rain fell in drenching sheets, hammering the corrugated roof of the clinic in Bahia Unesco. It was nearly midnight. Power had been lost in the storm, and the midwife, Elena Morales, was working by flashlight when she heard a squeaking, chirping sound. Thinking that it was a rat, she quickly put a compress on her forehead of the mother and went into the next room to check on the newborn baby. As her hand touched the doorknob, she heard the chirping again, and she was relaxed. Evidently, it was just a bird flying in the window to get out of the rain. Costa Ricans said that when a bird came to visit a newborn child, it brought good luck. Elena opened the door. The infant in a wicker bassinet, swaddled in a light blanket. It was only its face exposed. Around the around the rim of the bassinet, three dark green lizards crouched like gargoyles. When they saw Elena, they cocked their heads and stared curiously at her, but did not flee. In in the in the light of her flashlight, Elena saw the blood dripping from their snouts. Softly chirping, one lizard bent down and with a quick shake of its head, tore a rag chunk of flesh from the baby. Elena rushed forward, screaming, and the lizards fled into the darkness. But long before she reached the bassinet, she could see what happened to the infant infant's face, and she knew the child must be dead. The lizards scattered into the rainy night, chirping and squealing, leaving only behind bloody three-toed tracks like birds. So yeah, let's consignate this part. And yet there's no one watching. Great. Spam the hearts, spam the hearts, spam the hearts. I love spamming hearts. What do you mean, bro? It's been like one by one Lego piece. What even is one by one Lego piece? No one's gonna hop on? I know my friends are. They're probably playing Fortnite and stuff. This ain't Texas. Chat, I think I may have got one of those gamer bumps on my head from playing too much Fortnite. I don't play too much Fortnite. I'm cracked at Fortnite, by the way. I'm gonna keep reading. The shape of the DNA. Later, when she was calmer, Elena Morales decided not to report the lizard attack, despite the horror she had seen. She began to worry that she might be criticized for leaving the baby on guard. So she told the mother that the baby had sophisticated, and she reported the death on the forms she sent to San Jose as SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. This was a syndrome of unexplained death among very young children. It was unremarkable, and her report went unchallenged. The university lab in San Jose that analyzed the saliva sample from Tina Bowman's arm made several remarkable discoveries. There was a there was a there was, as expected, a great deal of serotonin among the sa- salivary proteins. Was a real monster. Molecular mass of 1,980,000, one of the largest proteins known. Biological activity was still under study, but it seemed to be a neurotoxic poison related to cobra venom, although more primitive in structure. The lab also detected trace quantities of the gamma amino methion, methionine hydrolase be, because this enzyme was a marker for genetic engineering and not found in wild animals. Technicians assumed it was a lab contaminant and did not report it when they called Dr. Cruz, the referring phys, physician physician at in Potaneras. The lizard fragment resisted in the freezer at Columbia University, awaiting the return of Dr. Simpson, who was not expected for at least a month. And so things might have remained had not a technician named Alice Levine walked into the tropical diseases laboratory, seen Tina Bowman's picture, and said, "Oh, whose kid drew the dinosaur?" "What?" Richard Stone said, turning turning slowly toward her. "The dinosaur, isn't that what it is? My kid draws them all the time." "This is a lizard," Stone said, "from Costa Rica. Some girl down there drew a picture of it." "No," Alice Levine said, shaking her head. "Look at its very clear big head, long neck, and stands on its hind legs, thick tail. It's a dinosaur." It it can't be. It was only a foot tall." "So there were still little dinosaurs back then," Alice said. Believe me, I know. I have two boys. I'm an expert. The smallest dinosaurs were under a foot. Teen Teenosaurus or something. I don't know. Those names are those names are impossible. You'll never learn those names if you're over the age of 10. Chat, I'm 13 and I know almost every name of dinosaurs. Almost all of them. There are 700 species of dinosaurs. I can't keep track of all of them. "You don't understand," Richard Stone said. "This is a picture of a contemporary animal. They sent us a fragment of the animal in the in the freezer now. It's in the freezer now." Stone went and got it and shook it out of the baggie. Alice Levine looked at the frozen piece of a leg and tail, and shrugged. She didn't touch it. "I don't know," she said, "but that looks like a dinosaur to me." Stone shook his head. "Impossible." Why, Alice Levine said. It, it could be a leftover or remnant or whatever they call them. Stone continued to shake his head. Alice was uninformed. She was a technician who worked at the bacteriology 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 lab down the hall, and she had an active imagination. Stone remembered the time when she thought she was being followed by one of the surgical order lies. You know, Alice Levine said, if this is a dinosaur, Richard, it could be a big deal. It's not a dinosaur. Has anybody checked it? No, Stone said. Well, take it to a museum of natural history or something, Alice Levine said. You really should. I'd be embarrassed. You want me to do it for you? She said. No, Richard Stone said. I don't. You're not gonna do anything? Nothing at all. He put the he put the baggie in he put the baggie back in the freezer and slammed the door. It's not a dinosaur. It's a lizard, and whatever it is, it can wait until Dr. Simpson gets back from Borneo to identify it. That's final, Alice. This lizard, this lizard, this lizard is not going anywhere. Second iteration. With subsequent drawings of the fractal curve, sudden changes may appear. The shore of the inland sea. Alan Grant crouched down, his nose inches from the ground. Temperature temperature over a hundred was a hundred was over 100 degrees. His knees ached, despite the rug layers pad he wore. His legs burned from the harsh alkaline dust. Sweat dripped off his forehead onto the ground, but Grant was oblivious to the discomfort. His entire attention was focused on the 6-inch square of earth in front of him. Working patiently with a dental pick and artist's camel brush, he he exposed the tiny L-shaped fragment of a jawbone. It was only an inch long, no thicker than his little finger. The teeth were a row of small points and had the characteristic medial angling. Bits of bone flaked away as he dug. Grant paused for a moment to paint the bone with rubber cement before continuing to expose it. There was no question that it was the jawbone of an infant carnivorous dinosaur. Its the owner its owner had died 79 million years ago at the age of about 2 months. With any luck, Grant might find the rest of the skeleton as well. If so, it would be the first complete skeleton of a baby carnivore. Get upstairs, Thomas. Hey, Alan. Alan Grant looked up, blinking in the sunlight. He pulled down his glasses and wiped his forehead with the back of his arm. Oh, the person that joined? We're on chapter 6 already, and you didn't really miss much. The last chapter was just a bunch of nonsense. This chapter is this chapter is sort of the beginning of the Jurassic Park movie when Alan Grant is digging up the Velociraptor, whatever. Also, when I'm done with the live stream, resume back to the beginning of the video because I made some important announcements there. Hey, Alan. Alan Grant looked up, blinking in the sunlight. He pulled down his sunglasses and wiped his forehead with the back of his arm. He crouched on a eroded hillside in the Badlands outside Snakewater, Montana, beneath the great blue bowl of sky. Blooded hills, exposed outcroppings of crumbling limestone. Now we're really getting into the longer chapters. Stretch out for miles in every direction. There was not a tree or a bush, nothing but barren rock, hot sun, and whining wind. Visitors found the Badland depressingly bleak, but when Grant looked at the landscape, he saw something else entirely. This barren land was what remained of another, very different world, which had vanished 80 million years ago. In this mind's eye, Grant saw himself back in the warm, swampy bayou that formed the shoreline of a great inland sea. This inland sea was a aw, extending all the way from the newly upthrust Rocky Mountains to the sharp, craggy peaks of the Appalachians. All of the American West was underwater. At the time, there were thin clouds in the sky overhead, darkened by the smoke of nearby volcanoes. The atmosphere was denser, richer in carbon dioxide. Plants grew rapidly along the shoreline. There were no fish in these waters, but they were clams and snails. Pterosaurs swooped down to scoop algae from the surface. A few carnivorous dinosaurs prowled the swampy shores of the lake, moving among the palm trees. Ryan, can you not? I'm gonna have to log off. I'll continue chapter 6 next time.
Hi, Blakey.
Hi.
Do you have an ostrich egg? Are you still doing it live?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello. Hello.
Okay.
I'm Blake's
All right.
brother.
Bye, guys.